part 2. You know, it's still Monday musing, right? And I did part 1 last week when I talk about this whole idea of persons wanting for us to return to that face-to-face space and some of the implications and whether or not we would have done sufficient groundwork to mitigate against even that issue, or just to put plans in place. And it dawned on me that there is another group that is critical in this process, and it's those children that would be deemed exceptional students. What do I mean? These are the ones that may have some form of disability. I'm not talking about the ones who may be physically handicapped, meaning that they might not be able to walk or so, but I'm talking about those who may have cognitive disabilities, or even those persons who may have visual impairments or hearing impairments, etc. These individuals are important, and it would be nice to hear what is happening in schools that have policies regarding special education and how they are coping in this space, in this online space, and to see how that compares to when they were in the face-to-face space. Having gone through and looked at the whole blended learning approach and how you design a course for remote learning and all of the things that go in place to support this process, I really have to think about those children who are exceptional. Would it be easier to educate those children online, or would it be easier to educate them in a face-to-face situation? The truth is, when I research the online tools that are available for these individuals, there's a whole heap of scope, you know, whole lot of scope for these individuals. And I don't know if school leaders, if school leaders such as the principals, if the teachers themselves, grade coordinators, form teacher, education officer, minister of education, you name it, I don't know either if attention is being given there. Last week when I was talking, I did not take them into consideration as much, although I know that accessibility and usability would have been affecting them. But I wonder about those individuals for real. I wonder how they are coping and how their teachers are coping in this climate. But I'm sure that they have to find a way for them to learn. So it would be very nice if I could find out from a teacher, if you're a teacher who teaches in that area, or a teacher who has any idea as to how these individuals could be supported. It would be nice for you to comment in the comment section and let me know. But I know there's scope. I really know that there's scope. I mean, there are tools there for those students who may be visually impaired to interact with, to learn the content. I know for those persons who are for those persons who have cognitive challenges, there are some tools that can be used to help them. Yeah. But I guess the issue is what happens to those children who may fall in that category, being in the home and probably not having the parents there. Their parents might have to actually hire somebody to be there to give them that one-on-one attention, because certainly that can't be easy for them either. So I'm mindful of that. But at the same time, the argument still stands that if they come to a face-to-face classroom, you're expecting that the teacher should do that and more. So it's still a creech-like approach, which is what I'm trying to say we should veer from. But the support is needed in that regard for sure. Yeah, it is. I think we also have to think about still looking at exceptionality. I think we have to look at those students too who are gifted, because oftentimes we talk about the ones that are cognitively slow, or those who may have some other form of handicap that limits them, you know, that really not allow them to maximize their full potential at the rate as a student who would be deemed functional. But those who are exceptional, those who are gifted in the exceptional category, they're another set for us to look out for, because I can just imagine how a teacher has to be on the double 24/7 to make sure that that child is not becoming bored in the learning process or not becoming distracted. Because, you know, gifted children, they have a tendency, you know, do the work, get it over with, and then they're on to something, but nobody's there to see what they are doing. How does a teacher really and truly plan for a gifted child in this space as well, when there are other individuals in the classroom? I think as educators, we may know about what is a personalized learning plan. Personal learning plan. Yeah, we know about that. But how you do that with 45 students in a class though? It's a kind of profile that you have to create in the face-to-face setting. You still have to do it online, but it's easier to probably curate the content for those individuals. But how do you really balance it, considering that you may have to have a certain percentage of live sessions and then another set that might be asynchronous? In some schools, they may not even offer the option in their policies for asynchronous learning. So it's hard. You know, people feel like teaching face-to-face is actually easier, harder, sorry, than teaching online. But online teaching is harder, you know. It really is harder. It's easier to create content. It's easier to design a course. But in terms of the actual teaching, it's not easier. Online learning is where you come now to realize that things like having a flipped classroom is a reality. It's where you realize that you can't be the sole disseminator of information. It's where you realize now that you have to structure your program in a way so that the students can work on their own. And then when they come to what is your synchronous sessions, your live sessions, that's when you want to provide them with the opportunity for critical thinking. But there are ways and means around it. It's as I said, online teaching is not easier than face-to-face. It takes a lot more work, a lot more effort. However, it can be more effective if teachers actually know how to do it. So that's another thing too. We talk about how the teaching and the learning takes place. Teaching and learning. How it take place. Sometimes the grammar not right, I don't know. But anyway, we don't oftentimes think too about how the teachers cope in this environment, you know, because there are many teachers who may not be au fait with the use of technology. But as an educator, you have to up your game. You have to always be one up. You have to be willing to learn. You won't learn every single thing, but you have to try. So I'm talking to the educators now, because somehow you do, you just sit down there big and so you can do better, man. Somehow you can do better, no need to get drape up. But by far and large, I know that the majority tries, you know. Who supports the teacher? Who supports the teacher who doesn't know how? Who supports the teacher who may not have access? Because accessibility and usability is also something affecting the teachers. Where's that support coming from? Are schools prepared to give the teachers the tools to ensure that the job is done effectively and efficiently? Are you paying for the teachers to do some courses so that they can expand their knowledge? Are you also looking at the teacher's well-being, the mental health? Mighty God of Daniel, that's an issue that we have seen. You know, just being on the rise in recent times, especially among educators. I've never seen it like this before. A lot of educators feel trapped. Even on their well-deserved summer holiday, they're on call 24/7. Christmas holiday, on call 24/7. Easter break, on call. Independence, every single holiday you can think about, they're on call. But something wrong with that after them and a doctor. And the doctor alone knows they're supposed to be on call. So teacher can be on call, you know, but not so. Some of the school leaders don't make it easier neither, because they're not putting systems in place where the teachers don't have to be a slave to their jobs. They are the ones who fail to maths out what it is that they want to do, and them under pressure. So them figure, if me under pressure, the whole out now for under pressure. That's not good leadership. You're part of a problem. Really and truly, as I said to you, we need to take a look at it and decide who needs to be face-to-face, who needs to be online. And while we are coming up with that kind of policy, we need to be mindful of those individuals who fall in our exceptional category. That is, we're talking about those students who are experiencing physical handicap. They may have cognitive disorders, and we're also talking about those persons who may be exceptional. Equally, we need to think about the provisions that are to be made for our teachers, you know, as it relates to accessibility and usability. They need the support. Their mental health is also important, and so there needs to be some mechanisms in place to address that. And I am not going to leave out a very vital stakeholder outside of the children, which we know the children will get a break, you know, because yes, they come online every day, but there are those teachers who will choose some sessions to be asynchronous. When they go on holidays, well, they're not supposed to get homework. I'm burn out the teacher, them, we get to them homework when them depart holiday. Leave the children, let them be. Them need a break just like you need a break. Box foot man. But yes, you know, them get that kind of break. But you know who else too? The parents. Because let me tell you this, the parents need support. The parents need a lot of support. Some of them don't have a clue about the system either. So you have parents who can read and write. You have parents who can do it, but them don't have the time. Because them have to out there hustle the money to make sure that the children are going to be okay. So they too need support. Me now go hide and talk. And I think by far and large, the school can come up with ways in which they can support the parents. Just like how we expect the parents to support the school. Support the parents them too, because they need it. They actually do need it, right? So, I could see what go on in the next couple of weeks now. It's October. It's around them time them a push for say face to face. But while them a do them thing and them now be systematic about it, I just want to make them know say, yo, you need to be careful though, you know, because sometimes when man a plan got a wife, no one a do, you know. Is it still too early for us to have everybody being in a face-to-face situation? And if we must support some aspects of face-to-face, if it is that we must use a hybrid approach, how, that's a key word, how will we structure this approach? How will we structure this blended learning? How will we structure this hybrid approach to learning? There's a lot of work that needs to get into it, that needs to be done for it to be effective. And I'm sitting here, child, I just want to know how it's going to be done. I really want to know how. I can be a part of the solution. Somebody call me. 1888 call via, you know. Call me, man. I can be a part of the solution. What if I go work for free? Not even for work for free neither. I'm tired of using my brain for free. But maybe me do it for free because I really care. I genuinely care. But yeah, that's it, guys. So that was a part 2. You know, last week I was going on about it. So this week I felt like those things needed to kind of tidy up a little bit. So I'm going to feel like people walk away from this experience thinking that I'm one-track minded and I'm only geared towards certain individuals in terms of my thinking. That's not me. I have a lot of scope. And want to know the thing, this is not a rehearsed script. I don't write this down and say, okay, today I'm coming to talk about this. My Musing Mondays is just like in that moment, whatever they put on my mind, and that me have to talk about. So I may have left out 1 or 2 areas when I was talking about it, but boom, see it here. I'm approaching that this week. I'm talking about it this week. So I'm still get a pass, guys. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with all your friends and all your family. And if you have enemies, to share it with them. They might learn something. But I really hope you don't have enemies, right? I thank you so much for watching, for taking the time to listen to me share my 2 cents on issues that I believe are important. So, of course, I will see you in the next video. Big up yourself.